Hey guys, this is Tomatoanus, and this is a speedrun of Fallout 3 that I got on my stream a couple weeks ago that I wanted to go back and do heavy commentary over. The first thing that you're going to notice is that we don't begin our run by pressing new game, we actually load a pre-made save file. This is because if we do a new game, we have to sit through a 2-minute unskippable cutscene that has no speed tech in it, so the Fallout 3 speedrunning community decided it would be more beneficial for us if we just made a save as soon as we gained player control, and then we just start all of our runs from there so we don't have to sit through 2 minutes every time we wanted to do a run. For our special stats, I just dumped them all into strength because it's the fastest one to dump all of our stats into because stats don't matter for this run. You're also going to notice the screen flash black a lot. That's me quick saving and quick loading, which I'll be doing a lot throughout the run. And it is used to do things like clip through walls and skip NPC dialogues. Right there you saw me do a trick called truck push, which is where we take the Nuka-Cola truck and we put it underneath Liam Neeson, and then we quick save and quick load twice, and it allows for us to push his character model around. We can push that into a trigger, which allows for him to start talking right away, and he doesn't have to walk over and start talking about the Revelations 2:16 passage. Right here I skip the dialogue of the party sequence with quick saving and quick loading and then clip through the wall so I can skip my birthday party like anyone with social anxiety would like to do. And then I utilize a glitch called stop hopping to get to the basement faster so I can talk to Jonas and then talk to Liam Neeson and get our BB gun and get the main quest rolling.
Are you ready for your surprise?
Right here we're going to shoot Jonas once to skip a dialogue between him and Liam Neeson, and then we make our way into the target area and shoot the 3 targets and then shoot the rad roach, and then we're done with this section of our youth. Very shortly now you're going to see me be clipping through a wall to exit the vault.
Good work.
You can actually do this clip that I'm about to do at any part in the vault, at any age, to clip out of bounds and then fall and respawn during the escape sequence. But we actually want to wait until we're at this age because when you're a baby you move incredibly slow, so it's not worth it to clip out of the vault then. When you're 10 years old you do have full movement speed, but you can't interact with buttons so you can't finish the game. So naturally we do the escape sequence and finish the game when we're a teenager. Now if you've seen my speedrun of New Vegas you'll know what stop hopping is, but this is the glitch that I'm doing now and it's what I did earlier when I went to the basement. Stop hopping is essentially a movement glitch that abuses the physics of the game engine, where you hold W and you jump, and then right when you're about to land you let go of W and you jump again and flick your camera to the side and back forward, and this pretty much builds up momentum to a pretty high peak speed that's about 1.6 times your base movement speed, and it allows for you to chain together multiple jumps and get through areas much faster than you would normally be able to do by just walking. You can't really do it as a baby, you can do it as a 10-year-old as you saw me do earlier, and there's limited spaces in the vault to actually do it because of the low ceilings. And now once we leave the vault, this brings us to the dreaded Speed Cripple. Speed Cripple is a glitch in Fallout 3 New Vegas that increases your move speed from the base 1 to about 1.6-ish. Speed Cripple is performed by making a quick save and then breaking your legs and quick loading at the exact same time that your legs break. If you time it correctly and you get a little bit lucky, then the game's internal memory will freak out and it'll add the cripple speed onto your base movement speed as opposed to taking it away from you when you break your legs. The fastest known method to do this is what we refer to as cliff cripple, and it's what you saw me just do. It's where we run off the cliff right outside of Vault 101 over and over until we get it right. There is a second version of Speed Cripple called Missile Cripple, which is where we buy a missile launcher and a missile from Lucky Harith right outside of Megaton. That's about 35 to 40 seconds slower, and we only do it in a couple categories because of needing the missile launcher later on in the run. You may be asking why don't I stop hop in addition to having my Speed Cripple? It's because the two don't work together, and by stop hopping you still just move at the maximum speed of stop hop, and Speed Cripple is faster than stop hopping. Now, if you've made it these 4 minutes and 13 seconds into the video and you were upset because of all these glitches you're seeing, well, this is an any percent run, as indicated in the video title, and any percent means that glitches are allowed. If you would like to see glitchless runs of Fallout 3, then go to speedrun.com/fallout_3, and there's a glitchless leaderboard on there for you to browse to your heart's content. You may also notice that my frame rate is limited to 60, as indicated by the number in the top right corner of the gameplay. The reason for this is that Fallout 3 has really inconsistent walking speeds when you have an uncapped frame rate, so in order to ensure that everyone is moving at the same speed regardless of their computer's hardware, we limit our frame rate to 60. So at this point in the run, our goal is to make it to the Citadel and get the fast travel point for later. We do this by going outside of the intended play area by quick saving and quick loading, so then we're kind of out of bounds in the wasteland inside of buildings and whatnot where we're not supposed to be. Once we finally get the Citadel fast travel location, then what we're going to do is fast travel to Vault 101 and then make our way to Little Lamplight. Now you may have noticed that my timer is pausing on load screens, not on quick saving and quick loading, but on hard load screens when I fast travel and enter new areas. This is because the timer that we use, which is called Live Split, has a built-in feature called a load remover. What a load remover does is it pretty much is constantly reading the internal values of the game and looking for markers that indicate that the game is in a loading state. When it reads a marker that indicates that the game is loading, then the timer automatically pauses itself. This is so that people with really bad PCs and really long load times can compete fairly with people who have really good PCs that are able to do loads in half a second. After all, we want our leaderboard to be sorted by the time people actually spend playing the game and not time spent looking at a load screen that is pretty much out of their control or based on how much money they have. There's a couple additional general knowledge things that I should talk about while we're doing this run to Little Lamplight. Right now, this run is being done without any mods installed. This is on the vanilla game, and this game is also ran on the most recent version of the game. So we're not playing on any earlier versions of the game. This is the most up-to-date version of Fallout 3. Also, you may occasionally hear a voice say, "I guess it was nothing." That's actually our character saying that because, as I mentioned earlier, we left the vault as a teenager. And Fallout 3, it counts teenagers as children. So because the game technically qualifies us as a child, that means we have the shared general voice pack as with children, and whenever we enter combat and we leave it, the automatic voice line for children to say when they leave combat is, "I guess it was nothing." So anytime throughout the run that we get attacked by something while we're running by it, after some time has passed and we technically have left combat, you'll hear our character say, "I guess it was nothing."
I guess it was nothing.
You may notice that Fallout 3 is ran in English, which may come to a surprise to you since Fallout New Vegas is in Italian and Fallout 4 is ran in French. There's only one chunk of dialogue in the entire run that we can't skip, and that's when you get captured by the Enclave and Colonel Autumn and brought to Raven Rock. That means that the fastest language for Fallout 3 is going to be whatever language gets through that unskippable dialogue the fastest. Now, it turns out that the fastest official language release is actually Japanese, but unfortunately, Japanese is only available for some console versions of Fallout 3. This means that if we're going to speedrun on PC, which is the fastest platform to speedrun on, then we're going to have to speedrun in English because overall, it's the fastest official language release for the PC version of the game. Now, if you're familiar with Fallout 3, you'll know that the main story has you have to go and find Liam Neeson, and that he's located in Vault 112 in Smith Casey's garage. It's also common knowledge at this point that Liam Neeson is there from the beginning, and if you know what you're doing, you can go there right away and find him and skip a large chunk of the storyline. This is probably what most people would assume you do when you say that you're going to speedrun Fallout 3. Leave the vault and go straight to find your dad and then finish the main story. However, it turns out that you don't even need to talk to Liam Neeson in order to finish the main story of the game as long as you're able to get the Gek. And that's why, right away, we head to Little Lamplight. By clipping out of bounds as soon as we enter Little Lamplight and then doing a glitch called void swimming, we're able to access Murder Pass right away and therefore Vault 87. Before I explain any further, let me explain void swimming real quick since that's what I'm about to perform. When you clip out of bounds in an interior cell with some water, the water will typically extend outside of the intended play area. If you swim to the edge of the water and then a little bit further, you should be able to swim out into the abyss a small distance before eventually falling down. Void swimming is swimming out into the abyss and making a quick save, and then swimming back into the water and underwater and quick loading. And what this will do is it'll load you back in the abyss, but it'll treat as though you're in water normally. So you're able to swim as far into the abyss as you want, and we use this to swim right up to the door to Murder Pass, skipping everything inside of Little Lamplight, and skipping having to meet Liam Neeson. Now that we're inside of Murder Pass, we're just going to make a beeline to Vault 87 and then the Gek. This is mostly done by doing things like clipping out of bounds and jumping on top of hallways and rocks and accessing doors to the next level in Vault 87 without actually having to run through the area. Additionally, before we actually go and get the Gek, we need to activate the fire alarm on the same floor, otherwise after we steal the Gek, the Enclave won't spawn and kidnap us.
Now try and hide from...
Now that we've activated the fire alarm, we can go and get the Gek and be sure that the Enclave will spawn afterwards. Now, when you play through the story casually, typically you'll use Fox to go and get the Gek for you since he's immune to radiation, and there's a ton of rads inside of the Gek room. Fox is pretty slow, so we're going to do it ourselves. However, it turns out that waiting for the cylinder surrounding the Gek to open is pretty slow as well, so we're going to do a glitch called third-person interaction to grab the Gek ourselves. Pretty much, if you enter third person and stand next to an object, you can kind of manipulate your camera by looking around and be able to interact with objects through walls, which is what we use to grab the Gek without opening the container. Once we have the Gek, all we need to do is clip out of bounds to spawn back in the central hallway, and then take the pathway back towards where we got the Gek, and we'll get flashbanged and taken away by the Enclave.
Objective is secured, sir.
Good work, soldier. Make sure the Gek is secured aboard my vertibird.
Yes, sir. I'll have the techs come down and remove it immediately, sir.
You're certain he's unharmed?
Yes, sir. He'll pass out shortly, but we can revive him.
Excellent. Prepare him for transport immediately.
Right away, sir.
Once we wake up, we're going to be in our restraints inside of Raven Rock, and we're going to have to sit through a couple dialogues, but fortunately we can just mash through them, and also quick save and quick load to skip a couple of them. And after we're done with all these dialogues and we're freed from our restraints, we're going to leave all of our worldly possessions behind in our locker and just clip right through the wall and leave the area. So now the goal of the run is to get the Zax panel from President Eden, because we're going to need the Zax panel to finish the game. So we're just going to make a beeline through Raven Rock, clipping through walls and out of bounds where necessary.
Fall back to regroup.
Once we get the Zax panel from President Eden, then what we're going to do is leave this room and try and clip out of bounds to spawn back in the main hallway of this area. But this clip is actually really difficult and inconsistent, so it took me a little bit of time to actually get the clip. But once we get the clip, we're going to run west and then north down this hallway in order to hit an invisible trigger, which will allow for us to actually finish Raven Rock and leave the area. And after we leave Raven Rock, then we're going to fast travel to the Citadel, which is the location we discovered oh so long ago right after we got Speed Cripple. After we fast travel to the Citadel, we're just going to run to the Jefferson Memorial, and we'll discover the fast travel location there, and then just fast travel to the Jefferson Memorial. And then we're just going to run right into the Rotunda, and Colonel Autumn will actually be spawned there, but it'll be spawned inside of like the actual Rotunda, the purifier room. And we need to talk to him in order to finish the game. So in the old days, the strat was to throw grenades into the purifier room, and that would cause Colonel Autumn to aggro to you. And you'd like leave the room and re-enter, and he'd be able to get through the glass wall, and you'd like knock him out and then leave the room again or wait, and you'd be able to talk to him again. But nowadays we have quick save and quick load clipping, which used to not be a thing, so we can clip right into the purifier room, talk to Colonel Autumn, and then we'll enter the 216 code and finish the game. I'm Tomatoanus. I hope you enjoyed the run and the commentary, and I hope you have an above average day.
You
I guess it was nothing.